Hello everyone and welcome back to the Houston Texans franchise. As you may have heard me mention in the previous game, the Texans are in win and in territory. It's currently a four-way tie for the AFC South Championship, and the Texans, if they win out this week against the Jags and next week against the Colts, would win the division and make the playoffs with a home game. So pretty shocking after being 4-9 earlier this season that we're in a position to win the division. Dameon Pierce, after becoming a superstar in the previous episode, now has a chance to become a superstar X Factor with 4 touchdowns or 200 plus yards rushing / receiving. So definitely going to try to get him that. He is a huge part of our team. Probably the best player on the team right now, maybe other than Laramie Tunsil. And he is obviously the running back of the future and a big focal point of this offense, as the passing game just has not been there this season, especially since bringing in Cam Newton. The passing game has been even weaker than it was before. And I'm not saying that that's a shortcoming of bringing in Cam Newton. I do think that the rushing game has benefited greatly from having Cam Newton in the offense to be able to do read options. But the passing game definitely hasn't been there entirely, and as we can see here, Dameon Pierce, superstar development now. We'll give him an elusive back upgrade. He is an 87 overall, playing up to an 88 with the morale boost. Obviously having a phenomenal season, and here we went ahead and picked his abilities, which we picked recuperation, since he's going to be running the ball a ton. And obviously no surprise here, he won player of the week. I mean, look at that stat line. 45 carries in a single game is absolutely absurd. Don't expect that to be the norm. I do prefer to play a much more balanced type of offense, but if we're trying to get our guy to be the best he can be in Dameon Pierce, then I am absolutely going to just feed him the rock to get him these statistics he needs to go up in development traits. Anyway, we will get started here in Houston. Second to last game, of the season against the Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence has quite a few interceptions on the year. Not the best season for him. Definitely pretty good, though, as we won't see Cam Newton stats until a little later, but they are laughable in comparison to Trevor Lawrence. Obviously has only started a few games for us so far this season, and we have only lost one game with Cam Newton under center. So I'm not complaining too much. And as I've said about a billion times at this point, it is win and in for the Texans. Not this game, it's win out the rest of the season and in. But obviously we do need to get the win here against Jacksonville, as Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence will take the field from the 25. We saw his stats once already, so we'll go ahead and skip forward. From the 25 now, Etienne in the backfield. Lawrence looks to throw, though, on 1st and 10, and he will. And he finds Christian Kirk wide open. Steven Nelson, not great coverage on that play, tripping Christian Kirksey as he stands up as well. To the 49 already is Jacksonville. A handoff Etienne, and he's to the right side, breaks Jalen Petre's tackle, and then is brought down by Jonathan Owens, already well within Houston territory, to the 31. Lawrence back to throw, this time on 1st and 10. To the right side, he's got Christian Kirk again, but it's only a pickup of 3 on that one. In motion is Kirk. It'll be a handoff to Etienne once again. He's got a pickup of about 6, setting up a 3rd and 1 from the 22. Etienne handoff again. Big running lane met by Jalen Petre and I believe Jonathan Owens, the 2 safeties on that play, but it'll be a 1st down from the 15. Lawrence looks to throw, has all kinds of time, but it's running out, and he's sacked. And who else but Jonathan Grenard, the sack leader for this Texans team. And honestly, you might be a little surprised to hear, pretty high up there on the sack leaderboard in the entire NFL. That might have been, I believe, maybe his 13th sack on the season. He only got credited for a half, as Okoronkwo got a piece of it as well. 2nd and 21 from the 26. Lawrence looks to throw. Wide open on the right side is Etienne, and he's got the 1st down. So the sack means almost nothing, as the Jags are already within the 5 from the 4. And Lawrence looks to throw again, and wide open in the end zone. That's Evan Ingram, the tight end. Touchdown, Jacksonville. And they made that look really easy through the air, on the ground. It did not matter. That looked far, far too easy for the Jaguars, as they'll take an early lead in this crucial game. You got to keep in mind as well that it's pretty much the same scenario for every team in the AFC South. If they win out, they're in the playoffs. So Jacksonville is playing for the exact same thing we are playing for. Cam Newton takes the field for the first time today. It's going to be a handoff to Dameon Pierce. Shocker. As we're going to try to get him to 200 yards on the day, or 4 touchdowns or more, or maybe both while we're at it. I'm not too sure. 2nd and 7 from the 30. Another handoff, Dameon Pierce makes some room up the middle when it looked like there was nothing there and gets a first down. To the 39 goes Dameon Pierce. And it's going to be another handoff to Pierce. Breaks a tackle in the backfield, but then is met by a number of different Jacksonville defenders. 2nd and 11 now. It'll be another handoff to Dameon Pierce. Makes a little bit of room where there pretty much was none up the middle, as there's an injured Jaguar on the play. Now on 3rd and 7 after the short gain, Newton looks to throw. Rolling to his right. Looks to dump it off to O.J. Howard, who is in the area at least. But it's inaccurate on the run, and that sets up a 4th and 7. And Johnson will have to punt this one away. And it is to the 5, takes a good bounce, and is stopped by Tavier Thomas at the 1-yard line. So the Jacksonville Jaguars, after a great punt from Cameron Johnston, will have to start from their own 1. We'll see what we can do here defensively. 1st and 10, Snoop Connor is in the backfield on this play, and he's brought down after a pickup of 2. 2nd and 8. Connor still in the game. No ETN in sight, as he's got a big lane to the left side of the field. He's to the 20, brought down by Steven Nelson at the 22, and the poor field position basically negated on one play. 1st and 10 now. Connor still in the game. Breaks this back to the middle. Jalen Petrie takes out his legs, and it will be 2nd and inches, just shy of the first down are the Jags. Gabe Neighbors, the fullback, is in the backfield now. He'll take the handoff. He's got a big carry to the 45 nearly, and I think that is where they'll mark him down, just shy actually, at the 44, as no sign of ETN. And Jonathan Grenard's in the backfield. He forces the fumble, and he picks it up himself. And he's got Green in front of him, only Evan Ingram to beat. To the 10, to the 5, touchdown Texans. Jonathan Grenard, a strip sack and fumble recovery, returned for a touchdown. He did it all himself in one play. Jonathan Grenard really proving that if he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year in the NFL, he's probably going to win it for us at the very least. Defensive Player of the Year for the Texans. And the Jags will take back over after the Texans touchdown. Christian Kirk had a pretty good season, over 1,000 yards receiving. 1st and 10 from the 25. Neighbors still in the backfield. Lawrence throws this left side. It's incomplete in the direction of Christian Kirk. 2nd and 10 now. It'll be a fake to Neighbors. And we've got Trevor Lawrence throwing it away once again, setting up a 3rd and 10 now. Lawrence looks to throw, has a decent amount of time, and just misses the dump off to Neighbors. And 3 straight incompletions will force a punt for the Jags, and the Texans take over 7-7 now. Dameon Pierce, a huge lane up the middle on 1st and 10. Great starting field position for the Texans, and Dameon Pierce makes it even a bit better. A minute left to play here in the first quarter. Dameon Pierce on the carry, and he breaks 1 tackle. That'll allow him to get the first down, and a little bit more after trucking 1 defender. Already 40 yards on the day. To the 33 are the Texans. Out of the shotgun, another handoff. Pierce, he's met in the backfield quickly. This time, though, a loss of 1 on the play. 2nd and 11. We'll look to throw this time with Newton. To the left side of the field, it's John Mechie on the reception. And he's to the 7-yard line. A big gain there for John Mechie, and a great throw from Cam Newton. And that brings us to the end of the first. On 1st and goal, Newton, read option, looks to run, and he's laid out at the 3-yard line. But a decent gain there, as that'll set up a 2nd and goal. And who else do we go to but Dameon Pierce, and he punches it in. Touchdown, Texans. Dameon Pierce, one of the 4 touchdowns he's going to need on the day if he doesn't get the yardage totals. And the Texans take a 14-7 lead here early in the second quarter. Trevor Lawrence, after 3 bad incompletions in the previous drive, will retake the field. And this time it's a handoff to Neighbors, and he's got some running room to the left side, outrunning Blake Cashman, who eventually catches up. And he's to the 35, a big gain for Neighbors. We can't stop anyone on the ground. It doesn't matter who it is. Gabe Neighbors on the carry again, met by Christian Kirksey this time, who came off a block, thankfully, as he has a lot of running room there. 2nd and 7 from the 38. Another handoff to Neighbors, and he's got a decent gain, a pickup of 3, setting up a 3rd and manageable 4. As Lawrence will look to throw, and to the left side, he's got Christian Kirk, who fumbles on the play, and it's recovered by the Texans. I'm not sure who forced it out, but I know Blake Cashman picked it up, as Christian Kirk on the reception has the ball forced out. We'll take another look, see if maybe we can see who punched it out, as it looks like it was Desmond King, actually, who came and forced that out. The Texans take over. Dameon Pierce on the carry has a pickup of 6 after the turnover. 7 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. Handoff Dameon Pierce up the middle, trucks one defender, and he's got a good gain here. 1st and 10 to the 33. 56 yards on the day for Dameon Pierce. Slowly but surely, he's making his way there. 1st and 10 now. Pierce on the carry again. Surprise, surprise. Pickup of 3 to the 30-yard line go the Texans. Out of the shotgun, another handoff. Dameon Pierce makes one defender miss, but is met by a couple others. Only a pickup of 2, setting up 3rd and 5 now. Newton back to throw. And has some time, is hit as he throws. John Mechie comes back to it, breaks a tackle, can't break another one, but is down to the 14. Great effort there by John Mechie, who has really come on strong ever since we traded away Brandon Cooks. A read option this time. Newton will keep it. He's got a blocker in front of him and nobody in the way. Cam Newton, touchdown, Texans. The read option has been killing it for us ever since we acquired Cam Newton and changed the playbook a little bit to suit him more. And that is another rushing touchdown for him as the Texans take a 21-7 lead here in the first half. 5 minutes left to play in the first half here, as this return will only go to the 20, which is where Trevor Lawrence and company will take back over. 1st and 10 from the 20. Neighbors still in the game. No sign of Etienne or Connor. Hit as he throws. It's not intercepted, luckily, as that is just incomplete for Trevor Lawrence. 2nd and 10 now. Lawrence back to throw again. Has a decent amount of time. Looks for Gabe Neighbors, who I thought made that catch. Knocked out by Desmond King. That would have been incredible from the fullback. 3rd and 10 as Lawrence will look to throw once again. Steps back a bit more and he runs into Jonathan Grenard. 2.5 sacks already today. 1 strip sack and touchdown as well. An incredible game from our star right end, Jonathan Grenard, as the Jags will have to punt once again out of their own end zone. This is Smith back to return. He's got some running room to the left side. Can he beat one man? He can. Only the punter to beat, and he's brought down by him. To the 35 goes Tremont Smith, and that'll be 1st and 10 for the Texans offense. The defense playing incredibly well today. Newton takes the snap, and it's a handoff to who else but Dameon Pierce. He's only got a pickup of 3, but the more yards, the merrier for our boy. Ty Johnson in the backfield. Wide open across the middle is O.J. Howard, and he's down to the 3-yard line. He's got some sneaky speed, and he shows it off there. Inside the 5 now are the Texans. A handoff, Dameon Pierce up the middle, and nobody can touch him. Touchdown, Texans, once again. Dameon Pierce, 2 rushing touchdowns on the day, closing in on 100 yards already. And it is going to be 28-7 for the Texans. The Jags defense really not putting up a ton of a fight here today, and the offense has not been able to keep up either. 1st and 10, 2 minutes left to play in the half. Neighbors is met there at the 25. It'll be 2nd and 7. He's still in the backfield. Lawrence back to throw, dumps it off to Neighbors, and he's brought down by Steven Nelson and Christian Kirksey at the 35. 1st and 10. Lawrence looks to throw right side. He's got Evan Ingram, who stays in bounds for whatever reason. Brought down by Steven Nelson, setting up 2nd and 2. Lawrence to throw again. Has a decent amount of time. Dumps it off to Neighbors, who's brought down around midfield. They'll say it's the 49 in Texans territory. 1 minute left to play in the half. Lawrence back to throw. Across the middle, wide open is Evan Ingram. He's met by Jalen Petrie and Jonathan Owens on the play. And down to the 24 are the Jags. And to the right side finds Christian Kirk. Only a pickup of 5 on that one. Inside the red zone are the Jaguars. A handoff to Gabe Neighbors on the draw play, and he's up to nearly the 5-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 6. 1 timeout left for the Jags. 40 seconds left to play. To the right side, it's dropped in the end zone. I believe that was Zay Jones on the target. 2nd and goal now from the 6. To the right side once again. It's knocked away from Zay Jones once again. And out of the shotgun now, Lawrence looks to throw. Has a decent bit of time, but it's running out. And who else but Jonathan Grenard? 3.5 sacks now in the first half alone. Jonathan Grenard playing like a true defensive player of the year today. An absolutely insane game from him as the Jaguars will be forced to a field goal, and we will head into the half with a scoreline of Texans 28, Jaguars 10. The team playing really, really well today, and we will get underway here in the second half. I do want to let you guys know that I did not know this bug existed, but the reason that ETN and Snoop Connor are both out is because of the progressive fatigue bug. So essentially their fatigue is just way too high, and they won't be brought back into the game due to Madden's they have to be above a certain stamina level to return to the game. So they will not be returning, which is really unfortunate. After this game, I did turn that setting off, so it will not affect the following game, but it did unfortunately affect this game. I was unaware that that was a bug until afterwards. As I was saying that, Dameon Pierce loses a yard here, but we are to the 50-yard line. A handoff to Dameon Pierce this time from the 50. There's a flag down on the play. I can only assume that that is holding on the offense, which takes away a big run for our friend Dameon Pierce. And it is a holding on backup center Tyler Larson, as Justin Britt is on IR and will miss the remainder of the season. On this carry, Dameon Pierce may have lost another one. It'll be 3rd and 17 from the 45. Newton will look to throw, and under some pressure, looks for Mechie. It's knocked away, though, overthrown slightly. And the Texans, on what looked like a promising drive to start, will end up having to punt it away. From the 45, Johnston had the one good punt earlier today. This one is fair caught, though, at the 13, which is where the Jaguars offense will take over. From under center, Trevor Lawrence from the 13. He'll take the snap, a fake to Neighbors, and he's sacked once again. This time, it's Blake Cashman. On the blitz, he was completely untouched, and the Jags are back inside their own 5. 2nd and 19. This one's dumped off quickly, but dropped, it looked like there. 3rd and 19 from inside their own 5. A handoff to Gabe Neighbors, met by Jonathan Grenard, who can't bring him down, but then Jonathan Owens, Jalen Petrie, and Okoronkwo will. Nearly a safety, but they'll give him forward progress at the 2. 4th and 21, the Jags punt again, and the Texans will start with great field position once more. From the 45, Dameon Pierce runs over one defender and then is brought down after the gain of 6. Setting up 2nd and 4, we'll do a fake sweep to John Mechie, and that's a pickup of 3 there for Dameon Pierce. And another carry to Dameon Pierce this time. He's got a first down, plenty for a first down, a pickup of 4. He's to 137 yards on the day. Still a little ways to go, but it's looking like he's going to get it. Dameon Pierce, another carry here to the 30, a pickup of 12. And now about to eclipse 150 yards on the day. 2nd and 9, handoff. Pierce up the middle and is brought down by probably the last possible defender that was going to stop him there. 3rd and 3 now from the 23, a handoff to Dameon Pierce. And he's brought down at the 18, another 1st and 10. Feels like I'm saying handoff Dameon Pierce every single play. I'll say it again, handoff Dameon Pierce. But this time he loses a yard. He'll set up 2nd and 11, fast forward to 3rd and 10. A handoff to Dameon Pierce. But he loses more yards. They'll actually mark him at the 19, but it looked like he was around the 20 or the 21. And the Texans will be held to a field goal today for the first time, I believe. Anytime the offense has been on the field, it's been either a punt or a touchdown. No field goals to this point, but we'll tack on 3 to the lead, 31-10 now, as the Jags take over from the 18. Trevor Lawrence from under center, and he'll look to throw here on 1st and 10, rolling to his left off his back foot, and it's behind his target there, setting up a 2nd and 10 now from the 18. Lawrence to throw, dumps it off to Neighbors, met by Blake Cashman, who lays down a big hit. A loss of a few there. It'll be 3rd and 12 now for Jacksonville. Lawrence back to throw once again. The pocket is collapsing. Hit as he throws. Nearly intercepted by Jalen Petrie. Reached out, tried to grab it with one hand, but it's just knocked away instead. And the Jaguars will punt once again. 1st and 10 now from the 41. A handoff, Dameon Pierce. And he is laid out after a pickup of 2 or 3. And if you didn't see, Eric Murray was injured on the previous play. Handoff, Dameon Pierce. He's got a huge running lane to the left side. Trucks one defender and then is brought down from behind. And that'll be the end of the 3rd quarter. Another huge gain for Dameon Pierce. From the 37, 4th quarter left to play. Dameon Pierce on the carry gets a little bit of the edge there with the pickup of 3. Sets up a 2nd and 7. We'll hand off to Pierce again. Cuts it back up the middle. He's got another pickup of 5 to the 29. 10 minutes left to play. Another handoff to Dameon Pierce. brought down once again at the 25. He's at 193 yards on the day. He's very, very close. 2nd and 9. Dameon Pierce, can he get the 7 he needs? It looks like he will. And it will be 3rd and 1, and he is over 200 yards. Dameon Pierce, as long as he stays over 200, will get Superstar X Factor after this game. Ty Johnson takes over for a play, gets a pickup of 7. Ty Johnson will remain in the backfield as Newton looks to throw to the middle of the field. John Mechie catches it in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Texans. I thought this was way over his head, but he goes up and he grabs it. John Mechie, touchdown, Texans, as the lead gets even bigger here in the 4th quarter. Not a great throw from Cam Newton, but John Mechie made it look good. And now it is 38-10 for the Texans, and this game feels all but over at this point. The Jaguars will take back over. Trevor Lawrence from the 25, looking to make some magic happen. It would be one hell of a comeback. Back to throw, all kinds of time in the pocket. Finds one of his tight ends on this one. Who knows who it is at this point with that progressive fatigue bug. As Lawrence back to throw again. And to the left side, finds Calvin Ridley. And he's got his first catch of the day, I believe. And that will be to the 48. Back to throw once again is Lawrence, and he's going to be sacked again. Jonathan Grenard and Malik Collins in on the sack that time. I believe that makes it an even 4 sacks on the day for Jonathan Grenard, which is just absurd. 2nd and 18, and this is caught by Marvin Jones, and I believe that's his first catch of the day. He's to the 43, 3rd and 5 now after the big loss on 1st down, as Trevor Lawrence dumps this off left side and then brought down at the 25 as the Jags closing in to the red zone. Trevor Lawrence back to throw again across the middle of the field. It's caught by Jones, and he's got 9 yards on that one to the 17. This time it's a handoff to Christian Kirk, actually, and he's got the first down to the 10. And it's looking like the Jaguars are going to make some offense happen here, as this is Marvin Jones, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Jaguars, as they'll make it a little bit closer, but they did waste a ton of time, as there's only 3 minutes left to play in the game at this point. But it's now 38-17. At least the scoreline looks a bit more respectable. And they'll go for the onside kick, and it's recovered by our fullback, Troy Hairston, on the play. And we will take over from the 46. At this point, it's just all about killing clock. Make sure that Dameon Pierce doesn't lose enough yards to go under 200, as we've got him his development upgrade. From the 43 now, Newton looks to throw. Wide open across the middle was St. Brown, but it's a miss from Cam Newton on 4th and 7. Fairbairn with a 60-yard field goal attempt. It's up. It's good. The Texans increase their lead slightly. A 60-yarder there from Fairbairn, as he's got quite the leg. From the 25 now are the Jags after the kickoff. 41-17. Pretty much nothing to play for at this point except for pride, I guess. Gabe Neighbors in the backfield, brought down by Christian Kirksey, and that will likely bring us to the 2-minute warning. And that does bring us to the 2-minute warning, as Neighbors on the carry this time, not throwing for whatever reason, are the Jags, laid out by Jalen Petrie. He's got a big game, though. Trevor Lawrence will look to throw on this play. Left side, that's Christian Kirk, laid out by Derek Stingley, and they'll hurry it up. Minute and a half left to play. Lawrence, all kinds of time to throw. Wide open along the left side is Zay Jones, and he's got a huge gain. To the 24 goes Zay Jones. 1st and 10, Jaguars, as they set up a screen for Neighbors again, and Blake Cashman, just too fast, brings him down at the 24. No gain. 2nd and 10. Still in the hurry up. Jags look to throw, and this one is caught by Zay Jones once again, as he's been pretty popular here in the 4th quarter. Lawrence looks to throw from the 11, and across the middle he's got Calvin Ridley. Touchdown, Jaguars, and they'll set up to go for 2. 23-41. The 2-point conversion would make it 25-41. It's a handoff to Neighbors, and he's got it. 25-41 for Jacksonville. It's still just way too far away, as they would need 2 2-point conversions and 2 onside kick recoveries. Here's the first attempt. It's bobbled around a little bit, but eventually picked up by Eno Benjamin, and he's down at the 47. And that'll pretty much do it for this game, as we'll just take a few more snaps here. Dameon Pierce on the carry on 2nd and 10. Jacksonville is actually burning their timeouts. 30 seconds left to play. Newton will actually look to throw. Wide open across the middle is Equanimous St. Brown, and we're going to punch it into the end zone. Just play a little bit of an ego game here. They wanted to burn their timeouts there at the end of the game, so we're going to punch it into the end zone with Equanimous St. Brown and take an even bigger lead as the Texans will win this game. One game away now from entering the playoffs. 48-25. The Texans improve to 7-9, and the Jaguars fall to 6-10 on the season. It's really unfortunate that the progressive fatigue bug hit us on this one. This is a game that had a ton of playoff implications, obviously, and it just didn't feel like the Jags were there. I mean, Evan Ingram wasn't there for most of the game. ETN wasn't there for most of the game. Even the backup running back Snoop Connor was gone for most of the game. I can only imagine what it did to their defense and why the running game was just so easy. Cam Newton with the insane passer rating, by the way. 2 touchdowns, no picks, only 123 yards. Only threw the ball 8 times, by the way. Absolutely insane. Dameon Pierce, 46 attempts for 208 and 2 touchdowns. Didn't get the 4 touchdowns, but he got the 200 yards he needed. Gabe Neighbors is their fullback and led their team in rushing and receiving. It's just really unfortunate that that bug still exists. I ended up turning off progressive fatigue after this game, but I do feel like it ruined this game to an extent. Unfortunately, I did not really realize what it was until afterwards. So, you know, and I'm not one to really try to replay the games, but either way, we take the win. A little bit unfortunate that it happened in the manner that it did, but we will move on as we'll take a look at the breakout player. Dameon Pierce obviously got his 200 yards, and he is now a superstar X-Factor player, which is insane. He is a rookie now at the end of the season with superstar X-Factor, gets 10,000 XP as well. And we'll take a look at what the reporters are talking about. I kind of skipped over this a little bit in the beginning of the video. As the Texans now 7-9, only 1 game away from the playoffs. Just have to beat the Colts in the next week, and we're in. That's pretty much all it's going to take. And you'll have to remember, the Colts are without Matt Ryan. If you recall, in week 1, we actually beat the Colts, and Matt Ryan tore his PCL. And so he was out for the season. So I believe they're still with Nick Foles as their starter in Indianapolis, as they lost as well. So they're 6-10. So really it comes down to the Texans and the Titans for who's going to win the division. But as you can see here, we are now the 4 seed. We're projected to make the playoffs. So we would be in if it started today. There is 1 more week left to play, and that is it. I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching. As always, I'm having a blast making these, and as I've said a few times, we're 1 game away from the playoffs. So if you're excited about that, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in week 18 against the Colts.